Sir is a well-known pediatrician, pediatric hemato-oncologist, and sir was the former president of IIP in the year 2006. Sir has delivered more than 1,000 lectures, 100 articles in reputed journals, 15 books, and sir has served as a consultant, advisor, a researcher for several vaccine manufacturers. Sir. And sir is now serving as a section head in PD Hinduja Hospital, Mumbai. Over to you, sir.
I would like to add that generally specialists have less of general vision. Here is a specialist who has a wider vision. His wider vision is always intact. And Dr. Nitin Shah is a person where cleverness, knowledge and wisdom they, reside together. Over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Many slips between the cup and the lip. Let me open my presentation. So thank you, Chairperson. Thank you for the invitation and the kind words. Good morning, everyone, delegates. A very unique Pedicon, I must say. I was very reluctant whether we should attend physically. And I think all the delegates have taken the physical distancing very seriously. So that's why they are not sitting very nearby and they are not sitting in the hall at all. So that's a good sign. Okay, great news always comes in threes. Do you agree with this famous three monkeys of Mahatma Gandhi, whom I really revere as a god? The first good news that came on the 1st of January this year was that the Covishield of Serum Oxford's vaccine was given the EUA, and I'm sure many of us have taken this vaccine, which I will hope will turn around this pandemic to a non-existent pandemic very soon. The second was a standalone IPV came back from Serum Institute of India, and I think that's a great boon because there are a lot of people who took only pentavalent vaccine in private practice. I mean, I used to always refer my patient to go to public hospital, but they would not want to go. Then you are forced to give them OPV and pentavalent. And mind you, the OPV which we have is BOPV, doesn't have type B. A huge cohort of children born since 2016 don't have type 2 immunity if they have not taken IPV. IPV is the only vaccine which has type 2. So those two fractional doses are at least risk mitigation. If that also the child doesn't take, that's a disaster for the community. And mind you well, we will discuss it tomorrow in the immunization dialogue. With the COVID situation, the routine immunization has taken a drastic dip. We have 5 lakh babies born every week in India, and in the last several months, a lot of children have missed their vaccine. They would have not taken the fractional dose or any OPV. So huge cohort is sitting without any immunity to type 2, and type 2 CVDPV or a wild virus comes from somewhere, we will be really in trouble. And I remind you that when polio comes back after being polio-free after 10 or 15 years, you get wild polio in adults. So some of us may be unfortunate to develop that polio, like how President Roosevelt developed adult polio. So my humble plea to use standalone IPV in all those who have missed, and to give an additional standalone IPV to those who have taken only 2 fractional doses. And the third, of course, was this new pneumococcal vaccine that I'm going to speak about, which was dedicated to the country by none other than our Honorable Health Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan. So that's the novel option that I'm going to speak in the next 30-35 minutes, and I always have disclosure. I'm happy the chairperson disclosed my disclosure even before I could do it, but I work for most of the vaccine companies, and I have been consultant or an advisor or a researcher. So I'm going to discuss some points because I'm sure you would have heard a very elaborate presentation on this new vaccine. I must have given on DIP platform at least 4 or 5 times. What is different in this new vaccine? So that is the new vaccine, that you had this PCV7, which was very US-centric when it came in USA, which used to be the serotype which used to lead to IPD, invasive pneumococcal disease, in more than 90% of children below the age of 5 years. But when it had to become global, it had to include more serotype, which are seen in the other parts of the world. And also when PCV7 was introduced, 19A was thought to be cross-protected by 19F, but that did not happen. So post-PCV7 used in USA, 50% of the remaining disease was 19A. And 19A is a notorious disease, can become drug resistant. So it had to be included. So then 2 vaccines came simultaneously. First came PCV10 from GSK, which added the type 1, 5 and 7F, which are the serotype of poor countries. And they thought while that was happening, the 6B will cross-protect 6A and 19F will cross-protect 19A. So they did not include these two serotypes. And type 3 was removed because type 3 did not work for the PCV10 by GSK. And in fact, type 3 doesn't work even in PCV13, I'll show you how. And simultaneously, Pfizer was working on the 13-valent vaccine. So they introduced 6A, 19A for direct protection. They also added type 3, and they added the same 1, 5, and 7F, which are the serotype of developing countries. So we have this 13-valent vaccine. Very happy to use this vaccine. Excellent vaccine. No doubts about that vaccine. Beautiful vaccine. But that's very expensive. And an option had to come which is made in India, for India and for global. So locally made for global scenario. So with the help of Melinda Gates Foundation and several other agencies, Serum Institute worked on the 10-valent vaccine. They dropped type 4 and 18C, and I'll tell you why. They also dropped type 3, and I'll tell you why. And they added 6A, 19A. I'm saying that also I'll show you why. So we have this new 10-valent vaccine, which is a locally made vaccine for a global serotype coverage. Now the point to that I said in before slide is why was 4 and 18C dropped, and why was 3 also dropped, and why 6A and 19 were added in this vaccine. So 4, if you see in Latin America, is less than 1%, almost non-existent. 18C almost less than 1%. When it comes to India, it's around 1 to 2% for 4 and 1 to 2% for 18C. So I'll show you at the end serotype coverage that there isn't much difference between PCV13 and this new PCV10 as far as serotype coverage is concerned, except maybe 1 or 2% lower serotype coverage. Now, why was type 3 dropped? Now, type 3 doesn't work. This is from the WHO paper. It talks about not 1 but 8 studies in different countries like Denmark, Portugal, US, UK, from year 2010 onwards when the type PCV13 was used, and looking at before and after type of impact of PCV13 in all age group, including pediatric, adult, less than 5 years, you name it. And either it shows nil impact or sometime increase in type 3 disease. So except for very two small match case control trial in USA, where the confidence intervals are very wide, you can see 2 to 93 makes a vaccine almost as good as useless. There is no doubt. So WHO position paper also says that type 3 has not shown that it's working in PCV13. Now, why 6A and 19 are retained? Now, this is important. This is a very recent paper from American and Caribbean region, that is Latin America and Caribbean, CIREVA study, which looked at countries which are still using PCV10. I don't know, how can this go? This is obstructing the slides. Any idea, anyone? Oh my. And no, it's just coming. Anyway, it doesn't matter, it's okay. So this is looking at 4 countries, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, and Paraguay, using PCV10 of GSK, which doesn't have 19A. And you can see what happened to 19A. Before vaccination, 35, after vaccination, 131, 44 to 118, 4 to 22. So 19A disease goes up if it is not there in the vaccine. What about PCV13 using countries? So you look at Argentina, Dominican Republic, Mexico, and Uruguay, all using PCV13, and you can see the 19A goes down from 59 to 19, 79 to 45, 9 to 5. The point I'm making is 19A is required for protection against 19A disease. You cannot rely on cross protection, which may be minuscule or may be not very long lasting. And this is the real-time data. 6 countries. The top 3 in blue are using PCV13. The bottom 3 in red are using PCV10 of GSK, which doesn't have 19A. And you can see here, you introduce the 13-valent vaccine and the disease disappears in PCV13 using country, where a disease goes up or fluctuates in the countries which are using non-19A, not containing vaccine. And that is in direct benefit. What about herd effect? You can see a massive herd effect using PCV13 for 19A, whereas for all the 3 countries using the 10-valent vaccine of GSK, the disease just goes up. So you need 19A both for the direct protection as well as for the herd effect. This is 6A story. Again, you can see 6A goes down in all the 3 countries using 6A containing vaccine, whereas it fluctuates in countries not using 6A containing vaccine. But still, a good direct, cross protection seen in this country. But when it comes to the herd effect, massive herd effect against 6A with PCV13, which has 6A, but again, see, except in Chile, in other 2 countries, the disease goes up. So you need both 6A and 19A for your direct protection as well as cross protection. Yes, please. Thank you. God bless you. Oh, wait. Yeah, no problem. All right. So this is the WHO position paper as far as 6A, 19A. In settings with high 19A or 6C. Why 6C? 6A cross protects 6C, but 6B does not cross protect 6C. So 6A has value for direct protection against 6A and also cross protection against 6C. And of course 19A, PCV 13 or any other vaccine which has 6A and 19A may lead to greater reduction. And I think this is the final answer by an authority. And on type 3, it very clearly says that research evidence recommendation by SAGE that experience from 7 countries shows limited or no effectiveness of 13-valent vaccine against type 3. So having 6 and 19A important, not having type 3, not problem. And there are only 2 vaccines which have both 6A and 19A, and that is the new vaccine from Serum, Pneumocil, and our old very effective vaccine PCV13 from Pfizer. Point 3, what data do we have that this new vaccine will work? So, very rich data, starting from phase 1 in India to phase 1-2 in Gambia, which led to licensing in the international arena, to a phase 3 in India because DCGI did not allow permission of granting permission based on an international study. So they did a pivotal phase 3 study in India, and the same pivotal phase 3 study also done in Gambia. So we have very rich experience. And of this, this is published, and now this phase 3 Gambia is published. This is still not published. This is data on file. The phase 1-2 Gambia study used 3 doses in infants, 6, 10, 14, and a booster at 15 months, like what we do in our practice. The phase 3 in Gambia and India used in Gambia 3+1, whereas 6, 10, 14, and an early booster at 9 months. And India, DCGI asked them to do a 3+0 schedule because government is going to use in 3+0 schedule as 6, 10, 14. And in India, it compares with both Prevnar 13 and Synflorix, which are available in our country, whereas in the Gambian phase 3 start, it was only against Synflorix. I'm going to show you some of this data. How was the new PCV licensed globally and WHO pre-qualified? As I said, that was based on the phase 1-2 Gambian study. Now, before I look at the complicated graph and data, I'm sure all of us hate as much as I hate to look. I mean, it is pathetic to even make those slides and then to read them. But when you look at the data, the licensing authority look at the IgG response. And they have defined as a cutoff of 0.35 for the IPD as the non-inferiority, which means the new vaccine doesn't have to do an entire efficacy data, which is neither feasible nor ethical because you already have existing vaccine. So it tells that the new vaccine should show a non-inferiority with the existing vaccine with a cutoff of 0.35 IgG response post-primary and post-booster. And if that is happening, then the vaccine is licensed for use, what you call immunobridging. But for clinician, IgG is not as important as OPA. OPA is what? Opsonophagocytic assay. It's a functional antibody. That's the one which is going to kill the organism. So if you have a good IgG but a poor OPA, that is not a good vaccine. If you have a lesser IgG response but a better OPA, then that's a good vaccine. So remember, licensing is based on IgG, whereas for clinicians, what matters is the OPA titer. And I can show you this here. This is the pivotal trial done of Prevnar 13 versus Prevnar 7 when Prevnar 13 was to be licensed as a comparative non-inferiority. Look at 19A. 80% seroconversion on IgG in German study, and even better, 85% seroconversion on IgG in USA. Now, 19A didn't work for 19F because 7-valent vaccine, you can see the 7-valent vaccine is in red. If there is no 19A in PCV7 and yet have an 80 and 85% seroconversion, it should have worked against 19A, but we know it didn't work. And that is because the OPA titers were hopeless. You look at the 19A OPA, compare the PCV7 which is blue, which doesn't have 19A, and the red which is PCV13 which has 19A, vast difference. Same way here, vast difference. So, because there was no OPA, it didn't work. But based on this IgG, you would have said, oh, such a great response. So when I am showing you the data on the new vaccine, look at the OPA more than the IgG. So first we look at the Gambian study phase 3, where it was a multicentric trial in Gambia, where they compared the new vaccine versus the 10-valent vaccine of GSK. So it was a new 10-valent vaccine versus the old 10-valent vaccine. This is the safety data. Local induration and swelling was 50% lesser in the new vaccine compared to GSK's vaccine. All other side effects were similar between the two. Post-primary IgG response on the seroconversion, lot of serotype had numerically higher seroconversion than with new vaccine compared to GSK's vaccine, statistically significant in 4 of them, namely type 1, 23F and the new 6A, 19A. When it comes to GMC ratio, like suppose you compare Pneumocil for type 1 was 4.29 and for GSK's was 1.99, the ratio is 2.115. Anything more than 1 is numerically higher, and if the lower bound confidential is more than 1, it is statistically significant. So you can see here almost 6 serotype, the ratio was higher with Pneumocil compared to old Synflorix. Now come to 6A, 19A, see the difference in seroconversion. 73% higher with Pneumocil because it has 6A, and 54% higher against 19A because it has 19A. And look at the ratios for the 6A, 8 times more with Pneumocil for 6A and 5 times more for 19A because it has 19A. So that is the advantage of having 6A and 19A in the vaccine. Now, but OPA are more important. So if you look at the OPA, 2 serotypes, type 1 and type 5, had lesser than 90% seroconversion with GSK's vaccine, whereas with Pneumocil, all of them were more than 90%. And again, you see the difference between the two. 4 of the serotype was statistically better with Pneumocil compared to Synflorix. And then on the GMT, OPA GMT ratios, 2 serotype were better, 9V and 19F with Synflorix, whereas 6 serotype were better with Pneumocil versus Synflorix. Post-booster, very funnily, type 5 did not boost either with Pneumocil or with Synflorix, and yet the ratio was better with Pneumocil compared to Synflorix. But overall IgG response, except for those 2 serotype, 9V and 19F, which were better with Synflorix, for rest all 8 serotype, they were better with Pneumocil. And OPA GMTs, which as I said are even better, you can see the differences which you have seen on IgG between the two vaccines have disappeared. So it was non-inferior for 9V and 19F for Pneumocil and statistically significantly superior for 7 serotype on OPA GMT titers. I think this is a very important slide to say that this vaccine has a very robust functional antibody response when given to children. All that led to WHO licensing this vaccine, pre-qualifying, and that's how this vaccine is now part of national program in some of the countries outside India. But this study was not allowed to be used as licensing by Indian DCGI because, as you know, DCGI always insists on a local study. I am very happy. We were always thrust upon all drugs, all vaccine without any trial in India. But now every vaccine, including the COVID vaccine you see, they have to undergo a compulsory trial in India, and I am very happy about that. So this was a phase 3 trial done in India, and as it was DCGI directed, they asked them to do 3+0, comparing with both the existing vaccine, Prevnar and Synflorix. So 8 sites in country, children 6 to 10 weeks received the dose, 3 doses of either the new vaccine or Synflorix or Prevnar. And they were randomized into 2:1:1 ratio. So this is the safety data. As far as the difference between Pneumocil and Prevnar, there was no statistically significant difference in the side effect. But when it comes to difference between Pneumocil and Synflorix, again you see tenderness is lesser, almost 50% lesser. So in Gambian study, local swelling and induration was less, and in Indian study, tenderness is less. So local side effect seems to be lesser with Pneumocil compared to Synflorix. Systemic side effect, fever, irritability, vomiting, fussiness, etc. were just the same between all the 3 vaccines. So that's very reassuring. Now again, we look at the IgG and OPA. But first, PCV13 comparison, next PCV10 comparison. So if you look at the OPA, at the IgG seroconversion more than 0.35, then 2 serotypes were better with Prevnar 13 compared to new vaccine. But if you look at their OPA seroconversion, that difference disappeared. So on functional antibody seroconversion, there was no difference between Pneumocil or Prevnar. All the serotype had very similar response. When it comes to the titers, on IgG titers, 7 serotype were better with Prevnar compared to Pneumocil. But when you look at the functional antibodies, then all those 7 serotype differences disappear, And in fact, one serotype is statistically significantly better with Pneumocil compared to Prevnar. So on a functional antibody, both for the seroconversion where there was no difference, and on the OPA titers there was no difference, and if at all one serotype doing better, so as good as Prevnar on the immune response and much better than Synflorix, as I'll show you later. So this is comparing with Synflorix. Again, you see on IgG response, 4 serotype are better with Pneumocil compared to Synflorix. On the OPA seroconversion, one is better with Synflorix and one is better with Pneumocil, so almost very similar response. But when it comes to titer, at least 6 serotype were better GMC titers with Pneumocil compared to Synflorix, all in red except one, and that one which was better with Synflorix on IgG difference disappeared on OPA. So on OPA, all the common serotype had very similar response, and the new additional 2 serotypes, 6 and 19, had better response because they are there in the vaccine. So that's the Indian study. Now, can we use this vaccine in 3+1 when India has, DCGI has given them 3+0 as the licensing PI on the product insert? So can you give the booster in the second year? So phase 1-2 study which was done in Gambia was comparing 3+1 schedule of the new vaccine, 6, 10, 14 and a booster at 15 months, exactly what we do in our practice. The global license is for 3+1 or 3+0 depending upon what country wants to use. WHO has pre-qualified this vaccine as 3+1 schedule or 3+0 depending upon what the country wants to use. And there is one Indian toddler study which compares this new vaccine with PCV13 in naive toddlers with 2 doses given 8 weeks apart, that I'll show you. And even the ACVIP says that you can use this vaccine as 3+1, and that I'll show you. So first the toddler data, naive children who have not taken any PCV in the first year, they come in the second year. So such children were given either 2 doses of Prevnar or 2 doses of Pneumocil 8 weeks apart, and they were followed up for safety and immunogenicity. So this is the safety data. Whether you look post-dose 1, post-dose 2, absolutely no difference between the two vaccines. When it comes to IgG and OPA seroconversion, one serotype was better with Prevnar on IgG, but that difference disappeared as there was no difference, 100% with each. So on OPA titer, seroconversion, just the same between two vaccines. When it comes to titers, 6 of the serotype, which are shown here, were better with Prevnar 13. But except for one, for all other 5, the difference disappears when it comes to functional antibody. So both on functional IgG response, OPA response, functional OPA seroconversion and functional OPA titer ratios, there is hardly any difference between these two vaccines. So this vaccine used in toddler, naive toddler, will work as good as Prevnar 13. And that's why the ACVIP in 2020 guideline has taken cognizance of this new vaccine. Of course, that time the phase 3 Gambian study was not available, but now that is available, I'm sure the next committee will look into that data even much better. And it very clearly says that it approves the use of Pneumocil till 2 years of age in 3+1 schedule with a booster dose administered anywhere between 12 to 18 months. So I think anyone who has this doubt, either on your own or created by anyone else, that you will be medico-legally in trouble. Remember, medico-legally giving more doses is never trouble. Medico-legally, if you give less dose, you are in trouble. So I always insist that when rabies vaccine, and again that will be discussed in the open dialogue on Sunday morning, that the DCGI says 5 doses, the product insert says 5 doses, but WHO says 4 doses. So ACVIP also says 4 doses, but I will still give 5 doses because giving more is never harmful. Suppose the child has rabies for some stupid reason, he will blame you that why did you give me 4 doses when the product insert says 5 doses. So giving more is never a problem. All right, point 7, how will the new PCV compare for serotype coverage for the IPD in children in India and globally? So you see this is cutting across all the continents, Asia, Africa, Latin America, and India. Globally, 71.7% of the serotype causing IPD in children is covered, and India almost up to 73%. So how does it compare with the from the different studies that we have in India? So we have this ASIP study, the BASIS study. There's a nice review right from 2007 to 16. So that's a very recent review from last more than 10 years. And we have this PDOPS data. So except for the PDOPS data, where there was not much difference between the 3, All other three data, you look at SIP, between Prevnar, which is blue, and Pneumocil, which is red, very similar, 72 and 71. For GSK's Synflorix, 63, 8% difference. In bases, same, 78, 77 versus 64, 7% difference. And in review, 75, 73, and 67. So around 5 to 8% lesser severage coverage remains with PCV 10 of GSK because it doesn't have 6A and 19A. This is a very recent data, a study done in Palwal region of Haryana, where they looked children who are healthy in community and children who are having the clinical pneumonia. And they took their nasopharyngeal carriage to see for pneumotype, serotype carriage. So you see in healthy children, there is not much difference between the three vaccine, looks very similar. When it comes to children with disease, again, Prevnar 13 or Pneumocil have very similar serotype coverage, whereas GSK's vaccine, again, that 8% difference remains. So the last few points, is there any future study planned for this new vaccine? The answer is yes. There is one phase 3 data of 2+1, where 6, 14 and an early 9 months booster, exactly what the EPI schedule is in our country for pneumococcal vaccine. And the similar study is going to be replicated in Gambia because a lot of international countries would want to use the same 2+1 schedule, because we know instead of giving 6, 10, 14, giving 6, 4, 9, 16, 6, 14 and 9 months is always giving a better protection in the first year of life, and an early booster will give a good protection, especially against type 1 in the second year of life. There is going to be a post-licensure study to look at the impact on the nasopharyngeal carriage. Now, unlike the Western countries, which can do this before and after type of study on the impact on the invasive pneumococcal disease, pneumonia, otitis, carriage, herd effect, etc., because they have a very meaningful inbuilt surveillance for invasive pneumococcal disease and other diseases. Unfortunately, poor countries, when they took to EPI in 1978, when WHO said that minimum 6 antigen to be given to all children till 1 year of age or till 5 years of age, there was a clause to say that they should also have an inbuilt surveillance program for these 6 vaccine preventable disease. But these poor countries very cleverly started the vaccination but never improved the surveillance. So we don't have the surveillance even in our country. So when you don't have that, Israel has proven that if you do impact on the carriage, it will tell you what's going to happen in the community. So that's exactly what is planned. 1,200 children in India, Indonesia and Vietnam will be given vaccine, and they'll be like before after type to see how much is the impact on the carriage, and that probably would be indirect effects seen on what's going to happen on the children with disease and the herd effect. And last, as is mandatory for any new vaccine, a post-licensure safety, what you call phase 4 trial, will be continued to see for any rare side effect that can happen. So this is the opinion of Dr. Cynthia Whitney. For some of you who don't know her, I have met her. She's a brilliant lady. She was at the US CDC when PCV7 and then PCV13 were licensed. So right from that time. No wonder she has more than 230 scientific publications in the pneumococcal disease alone. Now she is retired from CDC, she's joined the Emory University, and she has said that across the studies, this new vaccine from Serum met all immunogenicity and safety objective following primary and booster doses. The reactogenicity and immune responses were similar with the licensed vaccines. Lot-to-lot consistency was met with by this new vaccine. It did not reduce the response to the concomitant vaccine. I did not show you the data because it will be too much of cluttering of the data. But there is a study which in the Gambia, they also looked at non-interference with the concurrently administered childhood vaccination, namely the pentavalent vaccine, IPV, the Rota, and in the first year, and in the second year, MR and yellow fever vaccine, which is the part of national program in the Gambia. And it found that there was no difference between the existing vaccine and new vaccine as far as this other vaccine seroconversion and titers are concerned. So overall, it indicates that the new vaccine performance, if incorporated into national program, should be similar to that of the existing Synflorix or existing Prevnar, both of which have had major impact on pneumococcal disease burden in a range of settings. So with that, I will conclude my talk, and if there are any questions, I will answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Are there any questions? We can take few questions. We are 10 minutes ahead.
I have donated some time to you, sir.
Thank you. We take an oath.
Yes, sir.
We take an oath, Hippocratic oath.
Huh.
And we say we will do no harm. When a same product is available at 2,000 and 4,000 rupees, when we write a 4,000 rupees product, we do harm to the patient. When the same product is available made in India and abroad, when we write a foreign product, we harm the country. So, and we break our oath. Let us all doctors take our oath every morning and follow it.
Sir, I spoke only the science. I can't speak on the cost and the national favorism, but behind the scene, when I come down, I'll shake hand with you.
That is my privilege. Thank you, Hemant Joshi.
Sir, if there are no questions, I have few questions.
Yes, sir.
What of the GSK brand people, they say we have efficacy trials in the population.
Obviously.
And this vaccine doesn't have any efficacy
Obviously.
trials.
So I want to ask one question to GSK. When Synflorix came, what
That's all
efficacy
right, but
trial did
as
they
on
have?
today, they have efficacy trials.
When Prevnar 13 came, what efficacy trial did they have? Nothing. So that's why you license a vaccine based on non-inferiority on immunogenicity concept. Use the vaccine in some national program and you look at the effectiveness. Prevnar 13 has no single efficacy trial, but it has huge effectiveness data on not one but 27 countries, not only in IPD, but in carriage, AOM, community-acquired pneumonia, and herd effect. So that's massive. Same way for Synflorix. For limited countries that use Synflorix still in the national program, there is data. But that data is generated only after those vaccines were licensed. I think for a newborn baby, you can't say that you can't speak. That's why you can't come in the world.
Another thing about protection of...
Yeah.
Give the chance to audience.
Sir, please.
There was nobody, that's why I asked.
So we have 10 minutes,
There was
don't worry.
nobody-
Yeah.
Nobody had come in front.
My question is because we had been dealing with vaccine trial.
So
at
थोड़ा
my-
नजदीक आइएगा हाँ.
Yeah, we had been dealing with vaccine trial except pneumococcal. There's a discrepancy in the schedule in India. Government of India, when they introduced 13, it was 2+1.
That's
And
right.
If you look into ACVIP, it is 3+1.
Right.
And as per this our local homemade product,
Yes.
again 3+1.
Yes.
So what is the genesis?
Yes,
What is the
so
basis?
the-
and what is going to be effective one?
Okay.
Tomorrow somebody is going to held up in medical legal issue also.
Okay, so I'll answer your question. From public health point of view, the government is about DCGI. They can tweak the schedule to save cost of one dose because that one dose is equivalent to 28 million children who are born in India every year. We add one Australia every year, I hope you all of know. So UK was the first to try this experiment of using lesser dose in hip vaccine. It used 3+0. It failed because children started having breakthrough hip disease in second year of life. They realized the importance of booster. So they started giving 2+1 and they succeeded. So when it came to Prevnar 13, they introduced 2+1 for the first time and showed that except for 6B and 18C, which had a lesser seroconversion, but that would not matter when you give lot of children vaccine in national program because there will be herd effects in. So individual practice, there is no herd effect. You should give the optimum doses, which is 4 doses, which is 3+1. As a country, because you are going to also rely on herd effect, if you can save one dose, why not it? So they use 2+1. And South Africa was the first to show that when you use 3+0, UK gives 2 months, 3 months, and 12 months. You cannot wait for 2 and 3 months in poor country because someone may get disease as early as a newborn. So they started 6 weeks and 14 weeks and at 9 months booster. And South Africa succeeded in having a very similar effectiveness as a 3+1 for 6 years follow-up. So based on that use of Prevnar 13, all countries are now using 2+1 with 6, 14 and 9 months, no matter which brand they use. So that's the reason. So you should not start doing that in your practice. In your practice, you should still use 3+1, but in public health, you can use 2+1 schedule. And last question, just to save money of the patient, you delay the first PCV till 7 months to make it 2+1 is a crime because the disease can happen by that age. And I really wonder, how are there parents who can afford 3 doses but not the 4th dose? So I think it's our mindset and not true science behind delaying any vaccine which is recommended at a correct age. Tanu, I'm scared.
No. So, 2 questions. One is about interchangeability.
Yes.
And that is if you've given Prevnar 13 or Synflorix,
Right.
what about now using this?
So I will answer that question. You can ask this. I'll forget. I have a very short memory. I'm a Ghazni type. So Prevnar 13 and Synflorix have a data on interchangeability where what they did was Synflorix prime children, means 3 doses of Synflorix were given Prevnar or Synflorix in this first booster in the second year. And they found that actually there is no difference for the common serotype, and those three extra serotype, the immune response was as good as if all the 4 doses were given, because 1 dose in second year of Prevnar 13 is enough for 6A, 19A. So you can change from Synflorix to Prevnar in the second year, but you can't do the reverse. As far as new vaccine is concerned, there is absolutely no such data on interchangeability. So you should stick to which vaccine you have used in the primary series. Then give the same to them. If you don't know the vaccine, because some people read PCV, they don't write the brand, then you have no choice. You can give whichever vaccine you have and whichever you want to give.
The second question about children above age of 2 years.
Yes.
Where you have comorbidities and you
Right.
want to give a pneumococcal vaccine and maybe there are cost considerations.
Correct.
So it would be off-label use in that
Absolutely.
situation.
So Pneumocil cannot be given about 2 years as a label indication because there are no studies. In fact, I have been in talk with Serum Institute, and they are going to extend this vaccine for 2 to 5 years, normal children, then above 5 years for children and adults with comorbidity, and healthy adult above 50 years. Exactly the same portfolio that Prevnar 13 has, but that I think will take 2 to 3 years. Till the time, you should not use this vaccine above the age of 2 years. Because as a manufacturer or as a scientist, nobody will really promote an off-label use if you have another product which is labeled for that age group. And if you are using for comorbidities, I would still use Prevnar 13 as the dose because that has proven data in children with comorbidities. And I hope all of you, I am above 50, I am now above 60 almost, all of above 50 years should take 1 dose of Prevnar 13, and then you take your PPSV 23 when you turn 65, or in between if you have any serious comorbidity, and then you take 1 more PPSV 23 5 years after the first dose of PPSV 23. And it's always conjugate first and then polysaccharide, not the reverse. And if you have taken a polysaccharide before, then you should keep 1 year gap unless you are severely immune compromised, where you can take it at 8 weeks gap. So I think this question is asked many times because for our own members, our own self and our family members, especially COVID time. So please, if you have not taken, go home and take your vaccine. And don't forget your annual influenza vaccine. Sir.
Sir, Indian studies on Pneumocil are 3+1 at 9th month.
No, it's going to be happening, not 3+1, it's 2+1. 6
Yeah,
weeks,
but-
14 weeks, 9 months.
9 months.
That is the phase 3 trial which is ongoing. Because of COVID, the
So
data
as
is...
of now with that, should we give that trial only to the patients when they are coming?
No, so that data is not published. So we don't know whether 6, 14
so
weeks,
are you
9
justified
months.
giving at 18 months 1 more dose Pneumocil?
So I would give 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks, or thereafter whenever the child comes. First, 3 doses 1 month apart, and a booster in the second year whenever he comes.
But first 1 to 2 year data is not there, sir.
You have toddler data in the second and naive children, and you have 3+1 in the Gambian phase 1-2 data.
So Gambia, we can quote here.
Based on that, ACVIP,
Medical legally also.
I showed you ACVIP. ACVIP says to give it. Giving more is never a problem, Dr. Jittu.
Dr. Nitin, as I understand, probably this new vaccine is going to be used in the country now as per the budget speech.
That's right.
Yeah, my state is using the this 13 for last 7 years, first one to introduce. Suppose I got a 6-week-older and I have inoculated with Prevnar 13, and then I get this new vaccine.
Correct.
How going to follow the schedule?
In private practice or in public health?
I'm in the government sector.
So in government sector, I don't think so government will switch brands. They will say all those who have taken PCV13, finish with that, and then a new batch, a new cohort, start with Pneumocil. That's what my gut feeling would be. But if you ask me, government can do it. Government can say, now today we are switching from PCV13 to new vaccine. Who is there to ask them?
But now that's contrary to your answer.
So you
to
will
Kanu.
follow what the government will decide on the interchangeability. But I am not suggesting any interchangeability
Nee, nee,
scientifically.
We are not going to take. What is going to happen to that cohort which got Prevnar 13 to begin with?
So they
and now
will.
one fine
So
day
they
you
will
get this
buy.
vaccine.
They will buy Prevnar 13 also to finish off cohort. Those children have to receive only 3 doses, right? If they have received 1 dose, you need 2 more doses. Suppose there is a cohort of 10 million, they will have 20 million doses stock with them.
Please bear with me because first dose is today and the third dose is after 8 months.
That's
It is going
better.
to
They will have for the first year both the
So
vaccines.
I think that's a practical issue. One
It
need to
is
look
possible, but it is possible. If they can have Covaxin and Covishield together, they can certainly have Pneumocil and Prevnar 13 together for public health.
Sir, what is the schedule of a pneumococcal and pneumo 23 vaccine of a 70-year-old immunocompetent person?
23-valent vaccine is first of all only for those who are at risk or immune compromised. It's only for those above the age of 2 years. And it should not be given to routinely to healthy children because that's completely unscientific. And 23 valent vaccine is going to die a natural death very soon because PCV20 from Pfizer is going to come in next 2 to 3 years.
No, sir, schedule for 70 years old age, 70 years. Not
No, I'm saying, as I said, once you become
is
65.
pneumococcal vaccine, Pevna
Right.
13 to be repeated every 5 years.
No, so first you take only one dose of conjugate vaccine, Prevnar 13 as an adult, from 50 years of age onwards, and then you take 2 doses of PPSV 23, the first dose at 65 years if you are otherwise healthy, and second dose at 70 years. If you are not healthy, like so you have diabetes, you have blood pressure, something, then you take first Prevnar 13, then after 1 year you take PPSV 23, and then 5 years after that you take second dose of PPSV 23.
Thank you, sir.
That time PCV, we will look at the PCV 20 data and I'll come back to you at that time.
Sir, this is regarding what you said about a booster dose of PPSV 23.
Yes.
As of now, they say the subsequent injections do not have the same immunogenicity as the first shot. In fact, the immune response reduces with PPSV 23.
If you
So
give
what-
too frequently and too many doses, so
So in
2
fact-
doses 5 years apart, the hyper-responsiveness is not a problem.
we can give it, sir?
5 years, so immune compromised people or
No,
above the age of 60.
immunocompetent.
Immunocompetent should not take PPSV 23. Why you want to give? You are harming that person. There was a beautiful trial done in HIV infected people. Okay? In one trial, they gave PPSV 23. You know what happened? There was increased mortality because that stupid vaccine with 50 microgram into 23 serotype engaged the whatever little remaining CD4 cell into non-specific immune response. When actual pneumococcal disease happened, there was nothing remained to fight. The same study in the same country by the same advisor, then they gave 2 doses of PCV7, that time PCV7 was there, and there was 80% reduction in IPD. So the point I'm making is you should not give PPSV 23 unindicated. In fact, there was one company which made the folder to be given to pediatrician where they had written a 2 years PPSV 23. I told them I'll tear you apart and sue you if you do not remove these folders.
No, because adults generally have comorbidities after 50, most of them.
That
us.
is why it is
So that's
recommended.
why you should take 1 dose of PPSV 23, never a booster dose. This is what you
So
want to
they
say.
should take 1 dose, and if they are not immune compromised, they wait till they become 65.
Right, thank you.
All right.
Any other question? What is the role of anti-HI and is it useful or?
It's a completely dead story, and let me repeat it. It's a completely dead story. There was once upon a time a king, means once upon a time there was one PCV11 vaccine, which is the predecessor to the current PCV10 from GSK, which was tried in one single efficacy trial against otitis media in Czech Republic, where it showed decrease in the anti-HI AOM by 35%, which was statistically significant. Then they dropped type 3 and made into a new vaccine, which is the current PCV10. They tried it in a trial known as COMPASS trial, where it was trial against otitis media and pneumonia, and they found that there was absolutely no reduction in anti-HI AOM. Then there have been subsequent trials to look at the anti-HI pneumonia. There has been no decrease in the anti-HI pneumonia. And lastly, studies done with Synflorix on the nasopharyngeal carriage have shown that there is absolutely no decrease in the carriage of the anti-HI. So anti-HI is just a carrier protein. It is not an antigen. You may develop antibody against it, but that is not protective. So no one should buy the theory, which is a commercial gimmick, saying that anti-HI also is a vaccine.
What is the conjugate here in pneumocil?
CRM 197.
Same as Prevnar
Yes, right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for
sir.
a nice
Thank you.
discussion.
We need to move to the next session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nitin Shah, sir, for the excellent talk. Most of the doubts on pneumococcal vaccine has been cleared, and we can now use the new vaccine more confidently. Thank you so much.